Hey everyone, Solibanyas here from Blaq Den Creatives, and today I'm going to show you exactly how I run my remote 3D design and visualization studio from my remote setup, from my laptop, and anywhere in the world at this time of recording. But of course, eventually as we progress, our setup and things might change eventually. Like most of you, I've started working as a designer for a company from an office from 9 to 5 p.m. for more than 10 years of my life. And now, I work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I know it might seem worse, but you know what? I love it. Why? Because now I have the flexibility of time. Although working for a company isn't so bad, it essentially gave me the fundamentals and taught me the inner workings of running a company. Somehow I wanted more for myself, control my own fate. So I've built a system that virtually allows me to design for brands, interiors, exhibitions, cafes, and so much more completely remotely. So if you're a 3D designer or visualizer like me and you want to do the same, follow along because this video might be for you. Running a 3D design studio isn't just about having skills, it's about shifting how you think. Most designers want to be hired, but entrepreneurs build systems that create opportunities. That means you don't just think as a designer, you think as a studio owner. You don't just do designs, you do sales, you do marketing, you communicate, and you present. And in between, you also need to find time to be a student and a teacher at the same time. In short, you need to have a growth mindset. I know it might seem a lot, but you really gotta love the process for you to be able to succeed. So, what do you think? Your work doesn't have to come from your city. It can virtually come from anywhere in the world. And this is how you start designing your business around freedom. Okay, now let's talk how I actually run my projects. First, of course, you need a powerful laptop or a laptop that's good enough to do your 3D work, plus an external monitor. And this one, I really cannot leave it out. My ergonomic mouse and keyboard, as this prevents from getting my wrist injured. You know, when I started out, I didn't really have a lot of money. So what I did is I sourced out secondhand parts in eBay. And even back then, that was good enough to be able to deliver good work. But for a more optimized performance, I do recommend at least 1 terabyte or even 512 gigabytes of SSD, 16 gigabytes of RAM, a dedicated video card, and a modern processor such as i5, i7, i9, or an AMD comparable to that. If you're in a budget, try looking under the gaming laptop category as they usually have the best performance and they're also built to have really good cooling systems. Just a caveat, the type of hardware specs that you're getting is also dependent on the type of 3D work that you're doing. So say for example, if you're doing a lot of 3D animation and rendering, you might need to save up more for a really good system. And this could be a different topic altogether. As you can see, my setup isn't that fancy. It's simple, it's minimalist, but this somehow works for me. Having a clean and minimalist workspace keeps me from being distracted. And we also move around a lot, so it's really counterintuitive to invest on something that's fixed. Although in my home office, I do have some quirky stuff to keep myself from getting bored and also just to keep my space alive. Some plants to freshen up my eyes and also just to help me breathe a little bit in here. Now, what actually makes money is how this links into this. So these are the softwares that we use. For our bread and butter, we use mainly 3ds Max, as we do a lot of fabrications and construction designs. Of course, you can use Cinema 4D, Blender, or SketchUp. Use whatever works for you. For rendering, we use V-Ray heavily, and at times we do use Corona. And we've essentially built a pipeline based on these softwares. For me, V-Ray might be a little bit complicated when you're just starting out, but once you get a hang of it, you'll see that it really has a lot of capabilities. While Corona, on the other hand, is very simplistic for the type of quality it can deliver. Although I feel that the support isn't there yet, but a few years down the road, then I might really consider on adapting our pipeline to use Corona. I know our core skills is 3D, and this is what we love to do. But being a solopreneur really means that you need to learn different tools and different skill sets. And I know it sounds cliche, but you really have to embrace uncomfortableness to be able to grow. So for our 2D package, we mainly use AutoCAD to do our layouts and floor plans, Adobe Photoshop for editing and touch-up, and Illustrator for tracing outlines, and it can also be used in conjunction for splines in 3ds Max. For our video package, we use After Effects for effects and animations, and it goes hand in hand with Premiere for post-production and compositing. Next up is the boring stuff. So these are really the things that I didn't want to do when I was just working in a company, such as time tracking and doing timesheets. Who wants to do that, right? I was like, what a freaking waste of time. But you know what? Now, these are actually my essentials to keep things on track. Now for my admin package, first up is Trello. I use this for all the projects, timelines, to record the client and project details, for time tracking and task entries. And these are now then translated into the invoice. So for my cloud workflow, I use Google Suite. For my main client communications, to organize my files such as 2D texture maps. This is where I keep all the briefs from the clients. This is where I keep the 3D files, 3D models and resources, the inspirations, presentations, and all of those get synced into the cloud so we can access it from anywhere and anytime. And both Trello and Google Suite can be shared with the team for easy access and collaboration. Running a remote studio means mastering communication. When I work with a client, I make sure that they feel that they're dealing with a professional studio. And I have a structured process. First is discovery call or brief. Second is the mood board and concept stage. Third is modeling and visualization. And final delivery, which are the renders that gets organized into the client's deck. All documents shows my brand, such as invoices, presentation templates, emails. So it really feels professional and consistent. So that's how you create trust, even if you haven't met the client in person. So at Blaq Den Creatives, we specialize in spatials and brand designs, such as cafes, interiors, exhibitions, and events for brands. These projects are heavily visual and emotional, so they are really perfect for remote collaborations. So these are our forte, but in your case, you might be working on something different like animation or architectural visualization. Do comment below what your expertise are. Each project becomes a part of our online portfolio, and one project attracts the next. Clients see what we can do, we have a chitty chat, then see how we go from there. To stay consistent, I rely on systems, not motivations. I use Trello for planning my projects and for team collaborations, Google Drive for keeping my projects and all of my files in place, Google Slides for presentation and team collaborations, and of course Gmail for my main communication and client interaction. All of these are organized into a system where I could easily find them. There are times when I get sparks of ideas and inspirations, and I make sure that I write all of those down into a sticky note, or it's even best if you have like a small notebook that you can bring along with you anywhere. So that's the secret on running a remote design studio. You systemize everything. It's not about having a huge team, it's about having systems that make you look, act, and deliver like one. If you're a 3D designer and you want to build your own remote 3D studio, do subscribe and follow along. And also please do share your thoughts and feelings regarding this video and topic. And on the next video, I'll show you exactly how I use the tools, templates, and workflows to keep Blaq Den up and running. That's it for today. Creatives, keep creating.